dispense. The treat red candles like war paint. Each lost baptized a Trader Joe's Chardonnay. She said your love's like leverage, looks rich till it snaps. And now she's gone and I'm hedging relapse. I toast my losses with off-brand gin, singing hymns for trades I should have never been in. By the high, sell my soul, trade my youth for Portfolio logo. Every green day's a dirty confession, every red one's a therapy session. I'm just a fool in the heat, doing rails on my tax receipts. God bless the crash I'm hoping to be. While I paper chats preaching diamond hands, while I paper cut myself into OnlyFans. I call a broker more than my mom, but both keep asking, are you fucking stupid? Legends of margin, call the dawn. I sleep in a hoodie that says move on. She left me for a guy with a raw theory. He doesn't even know what a gimp squeeze is, okay. Now I journal in tickers, symbols, and slurs. Wrote my will on a napkin, got a curse for the worst. By the high, blame the Fed, talking memes, pretend I'm not dead. Every bump's a farm I never went to, every jump's a girl, that's why I grew. I'm just a shark with legs, chasing gains and frying eggs. On the hood of my car while the sun sets on dead. I'm just another washed out prophet in a Motel 6 with candles and coffins. Wrote hotel and blood on the bathroom door right before I YOLO'd one more. By the highlight through detail, myself pain is just belief. Every chart's a mood I mimic, every dip another clinic. I'm not broke, I'm avant-garde. My decline's conceptual art. So raise your glass to the boys who burn bright and margin call love overnight.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, my little egg McMuffins. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is a beautiful Tuesday, June the 17th, I want to say, maybe, if you believe in the Gregorian calendar. Folks, I'm excited for today's show just because I've been cooking something up in the lab. We had a very interesting discussion in the Discord yesterday about the noise of the market, the randomness of the market, and is that something that you could possibly profit off of? So it's not exactly where I want it to be, but I definitely have some things ready to rip it this morning. Excited to see how it either does or doesn't go. So definitely degeneracy, but more so of bot related degeneracy, just to see if we could take advantage of some of the randomness of the market. Because remember, in fact, it is normally distributed. There is a lot of noise, and that is a very special way to say it is indistinguishable in the short term from randomness. Now, that might seem like a difficult thing to capture some dinero off of, but we're going to see if we can do it today. So I'm very excited for market open. We're going to let that kind of rip. Of course, we have some major news to go over. Early this morning, we got retail sales, came in way lower than expected. Initially, there was a bit of a pop, and the market quickly gave that back. We have some news related to Israel and Iran. Trump basically pulling the ripcord on the G7 summit, saying, I got better things to do. And because of that, that's why we are down in pre-market. That is why we were down in post-market. Oddly enough, even though the equities world is taking a bit of a hit, oil is remaining a bit steady. So we're getting conflicting signals. The risk on of the SPY, of the Qs, of Bitcoin, all those things are trending down. and yet oil is staying constant. So the energy market is saying not really too much to worry about, but the equity market is saying there's very much something to work about. So as you could see from the title of the show, we're back in the whipsaw. That's what's going on today. We are getting whipped up. We are getting whipped down. This is a great time to sit on your hands and do nothing. And if you definitely want to trade, it's definitely a size to dramatically size down, because we are no longer in that math trend driven environment. We are in a headline environment right now, waiting to see what's happening with Israel, Iran. Tomorrow we have the FOMC meeting. The market's closed on Thursday. We have OPEX on Friday. So really from now to the remainder of the week, going into the maybe potentially extended weekend. I know a lot of you are going to be taking Friday off. We're just in a messy situation. So when you get into these types of environments, sometimes have to have that discipline to do absolutely nothing, because remember, at the end of the day, trading is very much taking advantage of the high quality opportunities, and you're not necessarily given those every single day. So let's see if we could have some fun today. Let's see if we could pull a rabbit out of a magic hat, and we're going to see what's going on. So good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you guys are crushing it. I hope you made a lot of money yesterday. I did not. My accounts ended up being break even on Apex, but that was bad because they were actually up. So remember, the drawdown is based on your unrealized high. So even though the accounts had the same nominal value at the start, at the end, they're actually worse off because I ate into my buffer. So then there was some drama last night with Apex, people getting emails that they're no longer allowed to buy evals, and then other people, myself included, getting that email, and then an hour or two later is getting the sorry that was like sent by accident email. So that was a whole debacle. In terms of my positions, I was swinging puts, got out of those yesterday, got destroyed. Then I was swinging calls, and as of this morning, they're not going to be looking so good. So even though I have no particular math-based bias on the day, I'm hopeful, my fingers are crossed, that we get some sort of recovery, but we're just doing full trips seemingly every day. We're taking out previous highs and previous lows and previous highs and previous lows and previous highs and previous lows. Folks, this price action is by definition just whipsaw. And when you notice that, sometimes you just got to protect yourself from yourself. So lots of things to chit chat about. Right now, I'm actually seeing oil catch a bit of a bid for whatever the hell reason that is happening, but should be interesting. All right, let's see where we are at in pre-market trading. JetBlue to cut more flights, other costs with break-even 2025 unlikely due to weaker travel demand. Interesting. Well, anyway, the headline as of this morning, Dow Futures falls 200 points on escalating Israel-Iran conflict, weak retail sales. So retail sales did come out at 8:30 this morning. Retail sales fell 0.9% in May, worse than expected as consumers pulled back. Once again, we're still continuing to see some cracks in the foundation of the economy. The consumer is not as strong as expected. And obviously, this is going to be considered by the administration. This is going to be considered by really Jerome Powell, and the FOMC meeting starts today. It's going to be really considered by the market at large. So anyway, we will come back to this, but obviously that's what came out at 8:30 a.m. ET today. Today, we also have the start of the FOMC meeting, but we don't get the results of the FOMC meeting until tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, will be speaking at 2:30. I covered this in the update video yesterday. We talked about it yesterday, but the chances of us getting a rate cut are literally not even 1%. We are not getting a rate cut. We are not getting a rate hike. There's a 99 point whatever percent chance that we are going to stay exactly at 4.25%. And that is pretty much also true for the July FOMC meeting. As things currently stand, we will most likely not be getting any changes to the Fed fund rate until September of this year. And even that, depending on how certain things break, either positive or negatively, even that might be a little bit too early. So definitely don't hold your breath on it. Now, the other thing to pay attention to in the short term, which is definitely causing this hecticness in the SPY and the Qs, Bitcoin's getting hit, oil doesn't know what to do, is right here. Trump plays down Iran-Israel truce as he leaves G7 early. So there's a couple different narratives worthwhile to pay attention to here. And let me just start it off with this, where obviously yesterday was the meeting of, well, the start of the meeting of G7. And on the initial get-go, not as good as you'd want it to be for the world.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You need to go early, sir?
President, any statement on why you're leaving the G7 early for Washington?
Well, I have to be back. Very important. I want to just thank our great host. He did a fantastic job. Thank you.
Leaving
Canada.
day one. Talk about an Irish
What I
exit.
see, and I have to be back as soon as I can. We're going to have dinner with these wonderful leaders, and then I get on the plane. I have to be back early for
Have you heard of
obvious
the National
reasons.
Security Council?
I loved it. I tell you, I loved it. And I think we got a lot done. Really a lot done. In fact, UK, we signed a big trade deal today, and we're working on others. But we had just a really great relationship with everybody, and it's really nice. I wish I could stay for tomorrow, but they understand. This
Is there a reason,
big.
Mr.
This
President,
is big
you
stuff.
can't do your business
You have
from
questions
here?
for anybody else?
Have you ever read the other interview?
Do you have questions for anyone else? So basically, you have Trump, day one, G7 summit, saying it went well. And yes, they did sign kind of a deal with the UK. If you ask me, it's a bit of a nothing burger. But regardless, had to get back. And the market interpreting the fact that he had to so rapidly rush back to not be so good. Trump signals escalation in Israel-Iran conflict as he leaves the G7 summit early. U.S. President Donald Trump said his early departure from the G7 summit was owed to, quote-unquote, much bigger things than planning a ceasefire between Tel Aviv and Tehran. G7 leaders affirmed unified support for Israel and condemned Iran for being the principal source of regional instability and terror. Trump left the summit a day early to return to Washington due to what's going on in the Middle East. And then we actually got some commentary from Trump himself. Iran should have signed the deal I told them to sign. What a shame and what a waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. So we got that at 6:30 p.m. ET last night, and that's the exact moment the market was like, what the fuck are we talking about? What do you mean everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran? The market really, remember, it's a little bit of a paranoid person thinking, wow, does that mean Israel's about to like just missile the crap out of it? So that came out last night, and that's exactly where in post-market trading things started to get a little bit funky, a little bit more bearish. I've reached out to Iran for quote-unquote peace talks This was then Trump actually kind of clapping back about some of the G7 leaders and what's being reported and not reported. Anyway, from President Trump himself, I have not reached out to Iran for peace talks in any way, shape, or form. This is just highly fabricated fake news. If they want to talk, they know how to reach me. They should have taken the deal that was on the table, would have saved a lot of lives. So that's coming out this morning. So it's kind of the 1-2 combo punch for the Bears right now. Well, in support of the Bears against the Bulls. So last night, panic rising once again, tensions rising when the president of the U.S., Trump, saying everyone get out of Tehran. And then this morning, it doesn't seem like we're any closer to peace talks. So that's the skinny on why things are bearish. And of course, retail sales, I'll be coming back to that. So, various things going on in the short term currently favoring the Bears. Now, I just want to call out from a technical level, we are at just very important level, 6,000. We have the bottom side of Captain Condor playing today, 11,000. So this could easily be support. It could easily be one of those situations where post-market, pre-market trading are bearish, bearish, bearish. We open up and then we pop and we don't even look back because we are opening up at major support. So for all I know, maybe big buyers step in right here and then we rip it and we take out yesterday's high. Totally possible. What's also theoretically possible is actually this is legit bad. We get worse news and then the Bears come in and we sell in, we crack Condor, and then we just keep going down to 59.50, something like that. Now, I know it's not that useful for me to say, hey man, it could be bullish or bearish, but in reality, that is the market. You shouldn't come in and be like, it has to be bullish, it has to be bearish. Predicting is stupid. Predicting has a place when you're an investor, but as a trader, no, no, no. Traders, active traders, they just react to risk reward setups. They are not trying to predict bullish or bearish. If you are in this game trying to predict something going up or something going down, you're already miles behind what you should be doing to be profitable in this game. In this game, time and time again, you're looking at key levels, you're looking at minimal risk, maximum reward situations, and then you fire the appropriate bullet size. You don't want to overbet, and then you look at those situations time and time again. If you're married to one side or the other, I would vehemently argue that you are miles behind what you need to do to be profitable. Do not predict. predicting is something that can take place over a longer time frame, why it's appropriate for long-term swing trades and also for investing. It is not, if you're a day trader, a scalp trader, or anything like that, your predictions really don't matter whatsoever. US and UK announced a trade deal, but steel imports unresolved. So this is one thing that came out from yesterday's announcement. It was a nothing burger. I think the administration threw it at us to try to calm down some of the things going on in the market because of Israel-Iran. But when you dive into it, it wasn't negative, but it wasn't overly positive. And in fact, we do kind of have a negative announcement related to yesterday. Modi misses chance to push for the U.S. trade deal as Trump leaves G7. So going into this summit, there was a lot of excitement of maybe even more deals are going to be struck and then announced, and the market rips and we hit a new all-time high. But because of Israel-Iran, beyond the fact that just global conflict is not good, it's prompting other bearish pressure by the fact that we were expecting potentially some insights to a deal with India, and we are just not getting it because, as this says, Trump had to leave. So maybe we get an update on this, but that looking a little bit more dismal. Trump officials weigh broader China tech restrictions ahead of trade talks. Expanding export curbs on chip-making equipment was an option if London talks hadn't gone well. So this is a little bit of a blast from the past. We saw this quite a bit with Biden and his administration of just, hey, we are not sending our high-end chips to China. Then we actually had Trump not only double, but triple down on this particular effort. And like I said, a little bit of a blast from the past. Seems as if this is still an ace up their sleeve, and they still might go this way if China, in fact, does not acquiesce to what the administration wants. So just another narrative. So yes, we have U.S. and China news. We have U.S. and Indian news. We have U.S. and UK news. And that's all just related to what's going on with trade. It seems like U.S. and the Eurozone has been a little bit more quiet. But then, of course, the other big news is clearly Israel-Iran. And the other big news is the announcements we got this morning. So retail sales month over month was expected to be a drop of 0.5, came in worse than expected as a drop of 0.9. That came out at 8:30 a.m. ET. And at first, there was an initial pop in the market, and then we dropped. And right now, you can see where we are. We are continuing this little trip to the downside. So we're not as extremely bad as we saw at 6:30. But as you can see, we closed halfway between the high and the low yesterday, and we are now currently set up to gap down below the closing value, which does set up an interesting trade. Remember, gap fills, especially smaller gap fills, are very high odds plays, as in playing the market up to the previous low because we are set to open below it. So that's a high odds play. Is it a guarantee? No, but if you do take those types of plays time and time again, you would be a net profitable trader. So that's what's going on in the larger economy, the larger market. Of course, we are very much in a headline driven environment, but I do want to let you know some individual news. I thought this was interesting. OpenAI wins a $200 million U.S. defense contract. The Defense Department has awarded a one-year $200 million contract to OpenAI for the use of its AI models. Most of the work will take place in the D.C. area. And I just kind of want to throw this out there. All of a sudden, is OpenAI going to just be the next Palantir? Now, remember, OpenAI itself doesn't publicly trade, but we know Microsoft has a large equity ownership piece of OpenAI. So if you're bullish on OpenAI, really the play would be Microsoft, which really isn't a bad play at all because Microsoft itself just crushes it. They have a balance sheet like Fort Knox. It's the second biggest company in the world. It just hit another new all-time high. So it is crushing it. But I just want to call out, like, if you're looking for some way to get exposure to OpenAI, one of the most evident ones would be Microsoft. But I think all of a sudden, if we see them capitalize on this particular opportunity, and then before you know it, OpenAI is striking deals the way Palantir is of, hey, we'll do data analytics, data cleaning, data crunching, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you see what's going on with Palantir. Absolutely ripping it. I wonder if OpenAI is going to go in that particular vein, but maybe even larger because clearly it has even more capabilities. So that's one positive side, but there's always two sides to the coin. OpenAI and Microsoft tensions are reaching a boiling point. The startup, growing frustrated with its partner, has discussed making antitrust complaints to regulators. So, like I said, there's always two sides to each coin, and the side of this coin is I guess it's not all love in Never Never Land. Tensions are rising between OpenAI and Microsoft over the future of their AI partnership. OpenAI executives have considered accusing Microsoft of anti-competitive behavior. The companies continue to be at odds over how much of OpenAI's Microsoft would own if it converts into a public benefit corporation. So something to consider. There's always drama in billionaire land, but I just wanted to throw that out there because it's just something to consider. Obviously, you have to consider the good, the bad, and the ugly. You don't want to have those like just a bias on of like everything you're looking at is exclusively good. So got to throw that out there. If you haven't already, sign up for the newsletter. It's 100% free. It's always been free, always will be free. Kohrs.locals.com comes to your email inbox every single Sunday. I break down what's going on in the market, a little cheat sheet for all the major macroeconomic events, and then most useful is the seasonality for each individual day. Today is bearish, but kind of leaning neutral. Over the past 27 years worth of data, the better part of obviously 3 decades, the bulls have won this day 44% of the time, which means obviously the bears have only won at 56. So pretty much in the realm of flipping a quarter. Recently, there's been some hits where like instead of being perfectly neutral, it's a little bit more bearish. But I want to clarify, this is just 1 year's trade where the bears clearly dominated on that individual day. So yeah, technically it's bearish, but I would say for the sake of seasonality, it's a little bit more neutral. And then just for those of you who are curious, Wednesday, it's definitely like leaning bearish. It's been trending down, but it's not the most seasonally strong day we've had. The market is closed on Thursday in observation of Juneteenth. Don't forget Wednesday is also FOMC. And then fast forwarding to Friday, it's OPEX. Once again, it's leaning bearish. So right now, this particular week, from a math stat standpoint, focusing on seasonality, it's best described as a little bit choppy up, a little bit choppy down. We are not in a phase of strong seasonality in either direction. So just want to throw that out there. And even though seasonality isn't that strong, I'm not even really sure if you would want to be using it anyway, because we're so obviously in a headline-driven environment. Not as bad as April, but definitely in a headline-driven environment. So just want to throw that out there to everyone. Like I said, Kohrs.locals.com. You can sign up in the description below. Before we get rocking today, shout out to Apex. Apex is today's stream's partner. If you use that code GOONIE, Goonie, use that code GOONIE, Goonie, to get 80% off, which means you could take the eval for about $33 right now. Granted, the best deals they offer are 90% off, but from my connections at the company, I've been told that the 90% off deals are going to be few and far between. So really, in terms of common offerings you could take advantage of, this is the best one. And also, they're doing interesting, like for when you upgrade from eval to performance, they're doing interesting deals for the larger accounts where they're actually kind of cheaper now. So check it out, pinned to the top of chat, in the description of the video. Use that code GOONIE. And on that particular note, I'm very excited for market to open today. As you can see, I have not traded today. I have my 20 Apex accounts that are all funded accounts. I have 5 funded take profits, and I have 5 evals for take profits. So technically trading on 30 accounts, 25 of which are funded. 5 of them are right now in evals. And just wanted to show you I haven't traded yet. And I'm very, very excited because, wait, did I turn them on? Did I turn them on? I did turn them on. Okay, cool. We're going to have a little bit of bot degeneracy out of the gate, and I'm hoping, here is my goal. Basically, I want to do 2 different trades today. One trade for $100, another trade for another $100. Like I said, I'm trading on 30 accounts. So one trade, 30 accounts, $100, that's $3K, and then doubling that up to go to $6K. So that is my trading plan out of the gate. I want to be firing the first trade really, really early in today's trading session, and then the next one is actually going to depend on the movement of price itself. So 2 different strategies, $100 each, 30 accounts, going for 3K, total of 6K. I'm giving you my trading plan right now, and hopefully it's going to be one of those situations where it's like, hey mom, look, no hands, and I'm hoping that the bots can bring me to the promised land today. And then depending on how that goes, I was crunching some numbers this morning. There might be some interesting stat things to play out this afternoon, but I need to do a little bit more extensive back testing and refinement of the data that I have. So based on what a very interesting conversation we had yesterday, I am, at least for today, who knows what tomorrow's going to bring, but very much fully committed to seeing if I could let these bots run my life. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to see how it goes. Obviously, when the market opens, I'll be giving you guys the options flow. You can see the Mag 7 was decently strong yesterday, while the SPY told a little bit of a different story. Kind of got going here at 1:30, but ended up getting hit into the afternoon. So clear differential between the S&P 500 and the Mag 7, but we'll check on that once again at market open. If you're just joining now, first of all, you're late, demerit, but it is important for me to let you know that Captain Condor is back. Call credit spread to the upside, put credit spread to the bottom side. The call credit spread is based at 6,060 and the put credit spread is at 5,990. So that's a 70-point range that these players, it's a group of players, it's a Discord, actually. It's not one individual. They're playing it around 11.5 thousand. They are hoping that the market closes somewhere within this 70-point range. Now, we've been tracking these guys for a while. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. They are not the gospel. They are not the end-all, be-all. We've seen sometimes where, hey, by a miraculous late-day play, they end up being right. And then we've also seen multiple times where they've been absolutely blown out. So I just want to clarify, I would in no way recommend you arbitrarily just copying them because I have a sneaky suspicion that in doing so, you would not be net profitable. So just want to throw that out there, that this is not some large Wall Street player or an institutional player. This is just a large Discord that apparently in aggregate has enough money to do an iron condor at the size of 11.5 thousand contracts, which is sizable. That's a multi-million-dollar position. So pre-market trading, 5-minute barely bullish, 5-minute barely bullish, 10-minute barely bullish, 30-minute is choppy sideways, 4 hours choppy sideways. So if that tells you we are indecisive, I don't know what will. 5 minutes slightly bearish on NQ, 10 minutes slightly bearish, 30-minute sideways choppy, 4 hours sideways choppy. So with respect to momentum, and granted we have 4 minutes to go until market opens, we just really there's no momentum right now. It's just we are waiting for market to really get going today. With respect to the daily chart, we kind of had a breakdown on Friday. We kind of had a breakout on Monday, yesterday. Now we're kind of having another breakdown. It's just sideways choppy bullshit right now, folks. You do not need to rush trades in this type of an environment. We're not in this nice, beautiful trending thing anymore. See how we have nice pumps, easy to play drops, nice pumps. Well, look at the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trading sessions. We're just not seeing the trends there. If anything, we're finding trends elsewhere in individual equities. Pound here looking good. Even Meta trying to fight its way back up, looking for it to hold 700. Nvidia looking strong, higher highs, higher lows. ASML, a pump, a pullback, hopefully a follow through. Tesla, even that, a pump, a pullback, looking, it's consolidated in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, but if it could break out of 333 or break down below 310, potentially another opportunity. My point in this is just to really illustrate that as of right now, there's seemingly better trends, easier trends to follow in individual equities rather than the overall market at this moment in time. So obviously the market is well known to ebb and flow. It goes back and forth from one phase to another phase, and we're just kind of in a crappy, like shitty, choppy phase, and that's because it's pretty much all news driven right now. So just want to throw that out there, and also I should throw out that Bitcoin is currently trading at 105,000. So what do you guys want on the watch list, or what do you want on the screen early this morning? Is Palantir doing anything? It's green. We have Metal a little red, Nvidia a little red, ASML even more red. We could watch Tesla out of the gate. Tesla's always a fan favorite. What do you guys want on the screen down here? What are most of you guys watching? We have the SPY, we have the NASDAQ, we have Tesla, and I'll let you guys decide this last one. I know Palantir is a massive favorite. Meta's a favorite. Nvidia is a favorite. Netflix is a favorite. You have Microsoft as a favorite. We got lots of favorites. So what do you guys want? Roku. Yeah, we're not throwing Roku up. That sounds like boring as shit. AMD had a great day yesterday. We could throw up AMD. AMD ended up gaining 8.8%, and it's up an additional 1.3 this morning. Yeah, we could watch AMD out of the gate. It got an. We're very quickly going. There might be no upside gap fill play on the SPY. We are making a move to the low value. If it can get above it within the next 90 seconds, there's going to be no upside gap fill play at market open because it's pretty much at that value. Or yeah, we're at the low value, not at the closing value, to clarify. Basically, we are coming up on 6,009, or if you're on the SPY, we are looking at 600.22. Yeah, it's pumping. So unfortunately, that play is no longer viable today because we already hit the low value from yesterday, and the Qs didn't even breach it. So unfortunately, not something to play today, but I'm very excited. All right, we are about 1 minute out. And in the final 60 seconds, as we always do, I want to see how lucky you guys are. Let me know how lucky you're feeling today, and I want to know the generic vibe of the community this morning. Are you guys feeling a bullish recovery, or are you feeling a bearish continuation to the downside? Are you feeling green? Are you feeling red? Are you feeling Pump City, or are you feeling Crater Town? How are you guys feeling this morning? What's it like? It's not good to guess, and most of the time when people guess, you have a 50-50 shot. But I'm just curious if maybe in aggregate, if we have enough people here, can we somehow start breaking the mold? You know, do we have enough people that we SPY is 0.00? Bearish, chop city, bish, red, bearish, crab walk day, bullish recovery, red first, bullish, sideways, red. Interesting. Well, a lot of you... Fuck.
Order submitted.
Well,
or target filled.
That wasn't right. It didn't work as expected, folks. It did not work as expected. I made money, as you could see. I made 3K, but that was not supposed to happen whatsoever. That was not as intended, unfortunately. I'm not complaining because obviously I made money, but I did somehow mess up the code. I did somehow mess it up. It doesn't really make the most sense in reality. Well, good start to the day. Ended up making some moolah.
Order submitted.
This was the appropriate trade, so I don't know why it fired twice. This trade that's live right now is what it was meant to do. So why did it fire twice? This is what happens when you have coding in the middle of the night. I need a code when my mind is not tired, and should be doing it. Probably should be doing it at more reasonable levels. Why? All right, I'm gonna have to figure this one out. Hopefully this afternoon. One of my issues is because of the content side of all of this, I end up having to do content work throughout the entire day. So then the only time I really get to code is at night, in the middle of the night. Well, that's some cosmic irony. The fact that the first trade, which was bullshit, worked beautifully, and then the second trade that I intended to happen is the one that did not happen. The humor in that does not escape me. The humor in that does not escape me. Why? Why, oh, why did that happen? Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to figure it out just thinking about it aloud. I'm going to have to dive into it. Oh, it'll be more funny to me when this trade hits and I make money instead of blowing out. But it is still objectively funny that my first bullshit one, which was an accident, worked perfectly, and then the one that I intended to work did not. That is funny. Objectively funny, for sure. But it'll be, alas, far funnier when it hits, if it hits, and I don't blow out my accounts, because that would be actually upsetting. All right, where are we at? Tesla, I'm seeing a little bit of red. Meta's in the green. One of my few green ones. Netflix is in the green. The rest, I'm seeing red. Palantir down 0.5%. NVIDIA break even. ASML down 1.3. Tesla down 1. Let's move Tesla up. Let's check that one out. Microsoft. We'll move this one down a little bit. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, here's a look at the options flow out of the gate. Nothing. Nada. Sideways on the S&P 500 and looking at the Mag 7. Popped right out of the gate. That's where like my bullshit accidental code hit. And then a little bit of a drop in. Maybe a little baby recovery right now. But what, we're only 4 minutes into the day. So nothing too crazy to get going about. Tesla trying to get going. Interessante. Patience. Let's not rush anything today. Let's see if the SPY can actually find support at yesterday's low value. 600.22 on the SPY is yesterday's low. And then on SPX, which these are the key levels of the day, I forgot to give them to you. It is 6,009. So this is the battle. I have clearly no idea who's going to win or who's going to lose. All I could tell you is look at Wick. So maybe John Wick here is going to protect us, and then we get a pop back up to the next important open interest level. And really today it's an important gamma level somewhere between 6,020 and 6,025 upon a bounce off this low value. That's what I'd be looking for. Past that, I'd be looking for that red to green test, and that would be around 6,033. However, if the bulls do not defend this, if the bears are a bit too strong and we crack that low, then we obviously have the key psychological level, open interest level, and technical level of 6,000. And below that, we have where the put credit spread of Captain Condor is at 5,990. So those are the initial downside targets. These are the initial upside targets. And as I've said before, if you're trying to predict the bounce or the breakdown here, that's just a very silly way to go. Just wait for it to happen and then try to execute upon a low risk, high reward opportunity where you're not risking much, but you're going for quite a bit, because you don't need many of those to be net profitable. And that's what we're all here for. If you're betting on the breakdown or betting on the breakout, you're already miles behind. The breakdown or breakout is going to be decided by people who are about to trade. You have no clue what they're going to do. You don't know what the hedge funds are going to do, the institutions, the insurance funds, the high frequency traders, retail traders. You don't know random announcements. You don't know what's going to happen. The breakout or breakdown is decided by an infinite amount of variables. So at that point, you're not going to be able to figure it out. Just wait. If it starts to break down, you have a target. If it starts to recover, you have a target. And then you just only want to take those trades, ideally, when you have a minimal risk setup. It's that simple. It is that simple. The EU plans a new fast track permitting for defense investments, favor weapon deals. It's defense industry push. Interesting. Speaking of breakdown, is it about to be happening? It looks like we are somewhat getting back to VWAP. Let's see where some of the volume is at today. A lot of the volume today at 610, just because we hung that level way too much. Let's see. Here's a look at the flow. The Mag 7 starting to take a bit of a hit. Looking at the S&P 500, also a slight trip to the downside. But it popped flat, took a hit, and now flat again as we are... AMD catching a bid. Meta back to being red just barely. Netflix is in the green. NVIDIA is in the green. So we're seeing, once again, semiconductors have a bit of strength. So we might want to be looking at something like SMD or SOXL, SOXL. Those are both ETFs tracking the overall semiconductor space. Looks like we might have a little bit of a fake out here. Made a little bit of a fresh low. But we are just... The S&P 500 is basically just hugging its low from yesterday. Hugging the low from yesterday. AMD catching a bid. Tesla try to go up, getting hit a little bit. Meta try to pop, giving a bit back. Netflix did pop, holding it. Palantir getting hit. Nvidia flat, Microsoft popping a little bit, Avago pop giving it back, ASML getting hit, MSTR, not, yeah, we're just Rum getting a little bit of a hit, Apple sideways, coin popping a bit, CRWV, hey, that's green, 1.9, CoreWeave is up 1.9%, biggest gainer on my watch list. So nothing, oil's actually down. Oil is actually down. Interesting. Interesting. Huh. Interessante. 5 minute is bullish, 10 minute is bullish, 30 minute is trying to break bullish. This is all for the S&P 500. So 5 minute on top, 10 minute on top, 30 minute trying to go on top, but we have 20 minutes until it closes. And the 4 hours also is trying to stay bullish. Looking at the NASDAQ, the 5 minute is currently bullish, the 10 minute is currently bullish, the 30 minute trying to close above, once again, 20 minutes, and the 4 hours trying to hold. So obviously a little bit of a pop out of the gate. And if we get a little bit of a follow through, if we can get back into the battle zone of where we were yesterday, actually all 4 timeframes on both ES and NQ, so all 8 timeframes in general, the bulls would, from a price momentum standpoint, be in control. Unfortunately, as of right now, the Mag 7 is not agreeing with that domination because we are seeing a sell-off in the Mag 7, but now we're seeing a random pop in the SPY. People are starting to buy 0DT calls, but more importantly, they're getting rid of 0DTE puts. It's probably because we're not breaking down early this morning. So those short-term players are just saying, nope, we don't want to get involved in this. They might be looking to refuel later. But yeah, we're about to take out this intraday high. So a little bit of a fake out breakout here between 935 and 937, sweeping the opening minute low and then just basically popping back up to almost the opening minute high. Let me get rid of the volume for right now. I think it's more distracting than anything else. But we are pretty much just range bound in the first minute right here. Haven't really broken the high. We swept the low for 1 quick second, and then we already popped up. Mag 7 still getting hit. S&P 500 is actually at a new delta high. So we're seeing some optimism. The momentum is attempting to hold here. AMD is looking great. CoreWeave is giving some back. Netflix is in the green. We're getting the Qs, getting a little bit of a pop here. Let's see. SPY is almost at the new intraday high. So looking at the XPX levels, the next one is somewhere between 20 and 25. That's why I cut it in half at 22.5. This is an important gamma level of the day. So if you are attempting to play this bounce, obviously respect your risk. Personally, and I'm not your mom, I can't tell you what to do with your money. If I were feeling bullish, I would personally be risking the intraday low. You have less risk than you do reward. If you're right more than half the time, even if you're right 51% of the time, you'd be considerably net profitable because your payoff is clearly more than your risk. So to me, I still think it's a little bit early in the day, but maybe you're a person who likes to trade early in the day. That's what I'd be looking at, somewhere between 20 and 25 as my next level. But the hard thing there is to have the discipline to stick to your risk. So if you're wrong, you get out without taking much of a hit. Overall, clearly, here's the high, the low, and the close of yesterday. The white box is larger today, so I didn't color it so much because I figured we'd be spending quite a bit of today in the white box. But really, the white box from a gamma and delta influence perspective is very much being set up by the Captain Condor. So by definition, we're expecting a choppy environment unless we get above 6,060 or if we get pushed below 5,990. This is just putting a clear gamma bound on the day. It's not necessarily bullish or bearish. If anything, it's just a black hole that we are actively stuck in. A black hole that we are actively stuck in. What is going on here? What in tarnation? Is it the Mag 7? Another trade just fired?
Order canceled.
Fuck, something's going on. What trade is this? Shit. I think I have conflicting strategies firing right now. Fuck. And it fired long? No, 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 no. That's not right. Short entry. Fuck. What happened? Why would that? Yeah, that's not right. That's not where we're supposed to be at. So I think I know what's going on in this one. Right now, there's 3 different strategies running, and I think there was just a conflict between the 2 of them. But why? Fuck. Somehow. Yeah, this doesn't make sense. That's not good. See, this is where I'm confused. Short entry. It broke down right there. Breakdown, breakdown. Short entry, SE. It should have been short. Why is it long? Yeah, this has been a pretty fucked morning. So, first of all, I'm confused on why it fired. And then I'm also confused on the direction that it fired. Well, that's not good. This is not shaping up the way it should have been. This is not shaping up the way I wanted it to. What the fuck? And even that, this one's technically already hit. So why is it still in a position? That's what I don't get, is that it's showing that this one is theoretically out right here. I could zoom in. This is where I'm confused, because this trade should technically be over. It went short. It hit its profit target. Why it says short entry, profit target, and it's done. So why in the fuck does it have a long position right now? Short entry, it took profit at 20.44 and then switched long. I see what happened. You're just reiterating what's on the screen, but that's what I'm saying, is it shouldn't have switched. It should have taken that profit. It should have had this trade, and it should have had this trade. I am also aware that on the screen right now is showing that it switched. That's kind of like a no, like, duh statement. The question is that right there, profit target should have hit, and there's no other signs for an entry right here. Long one, cool, hit it, profit target, nice. Right here, short entry, profit target, hit it, nice. It doesn't really explain why there's currently an open position. That's the problem. It should just be, to my understanding, flat at the moment. I wonder if it was a race condition, because it happened so quickly. Huh. I think it was a race condition. I think the timing of it, I'm like 99% sure that this should not be in a position right now. And I don't necessarily like that it's in a long position when the Mag 7's getting hit. The SPY was dumping. I got lucky that there's a bit of a pop right now. What the fuck? Yeah, now we're playing with pure luck. Now I'm praying that there is a, I don't even know where it got these fucking profit targets from. This is a huge profit target. I'm long at 44. That's a 75-point profit target. Like, what the fuck is it looking for? I hope that there's a chance that if it triggers these two again, will it trade again? Skynet's going rogue on us. Skynet is going rogue. But I'm worried that Skynet is going to add another long position to the current existing long position, which would be, for various reasons, less than ideal. For various reasons, that would be, in fact, less than ideal. Technically, we did get this orbital breakdown. Algos be like, hey, watch this. That's how it feels right now. And I'm wondering, I really don't want to override the algo, but because things are going crazy right now, I'm thinking about moving the stop up on this one to break even. So at least on this random ass trade, I don't lose money. But I'm at a complete loss of words of how it came up with this profit target. A complete fucking, like, I have no idea what happened here. C'est la vie. C'est la vie. Is it something weird with this misprint? At 9:48, there's a queer... No, it didn't happen then. My shit went crazy before it. But this is a data misprint on the SPY. We didn't... And you can tell it was a data misprint because you don't see the same action in the S&P 500. So these trades were probably traded, just not in this 9:48 minute. They were probably traded far earlier. And we are just getting pinned to the closing, the low value of yesterday on the SPY. What the fuck? Well, I can tell my entire afternoon is going to be spent trying to fucking figure out why. This is where it went weird, because it shouldn't be in a position. And then even the position it did take, I mean, the profit target and the risk is dynamic. And maybe that is the right math, but it doesn't seem accurate by any means. Does not seem accurate. But I am just praying that this is the low of the day and we rip all the way up here and I somehow make my money back, because things went crazy and I somehow lost, what, 55 points? Shit just broke. Come on. Do it, Tonto. Take out V. This is, not only is this just like the pivot level, you can see here lows and highs, like it's just mapping it out on the previous lows and on the previous highs. It also happens to VWAP. So I'm just at this point basically praying for a miracle. Praying for a miracle. I mean, I could. Do I want to intervene with Skynet? That's the question. If I were manually trading right now, I would very much be moving this stop up to break even to not risk any money. And if it hits my target, it hits my target. Great. I'm really worried if this closes above, it might add another long position and then I'll be in a lot of trouble today. This is the minute chart. So we have 40 seconds to find out if Skynet is going to go extremely rogue on me. Holy shit. Does Skynet know something we don't know, folks? Does Skynet know something we don't know? What in tarnation? Skynet will not like you to defy it. I guess that's a fair argument. Maybe I should just let Skynet do Skynet things. Okay. It didn't add another contract. That's interesting. I was very worried that I'd be doubled up right about here. I was very, very worried about that, in fact. I wonder what Skynet knows that we don't. All right. We made a fresh high on the SPY after making a fresh low. 942 fresh low, 952 fresh high. If you are playing this in the bullish direction, somewhere between 20 and 25 would be my first like day trading target. Just an important gamma level is sitting there. You could kind of see it on this. Here's the GEX, these gamma levels. Unfortunately, it's just being so incredibly dominated right here. Yeah. Right about, this is what I'm trying to point out right here. This somewhere between 20 and 25, which is why I marked out 22.5 halfway through that region. That would be my first one. And then my second upside target would be the closing value from yesterday, around 6,033. Obviously, we have support at yesterday's low of 6,009. We also have this intraday low at 606. And then below that, the massively important level of 6,000. So the bear case below, the bull case above, and we'll see how it plays out. With respect to options flow, the Mag 7s getting pretty beat up until about 946, 947. And even it might be bottoming. Like, we're not seeing that impressive of a pop yet, but it's at least flat. It at least stopped diving. And then looking at the S&P 500, very jagged pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, drop, pop, drop. So not really giving us any indication of a nice flow there, unfortunately, whatsoever. I mean, actually, all this looks like a choppy mess. All of this looks like a choppy mess. Yeah, we are not really trending in either direction right now, are we? Let me check one more tool for all of you guys. Okay, this is calling for a low at 5985 and a high at 6065. So that's like an 80-point region as of right now. It'll get smaller as the day continues. Yeah, we just don't have enough data for this other one yet. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything of interest. People are saying IWM's flexing. I mean, it's red on the day, but it's recovering nicely relative to yesterday. Yeah, this one is now calling for somewhere between 6050 and 5950. So that's a 100-point region for the bands, the upper and the lower bands. Is spot gamma. Spot gamma doesn't have its, or maybe I don't have them toggled on. We'll see. There's your Captain Condor. Captain Condor thus far wreaking havoc on the market and not allowing us to really go anywhere, but potentially offering a little bit of downside to support at 5990, even though we never even cracked 6,000. Yeah. Russell, I guess, woke up a little bit early this morning, had its Wheaties, continuing higher highs and higher lows. Whoa! What the fuck? What was that? The Trump administration is said to consider a crackdown on pharma adverts. I don't think that was the reason we popped, though. Pfizer's getting destroyed on that. Pfizer is getting destroyed on that little fact. Wow, Skynet almost is trading itself out of this hole. Old Skynet. Old Skynet, old Skynet, old Skynet. Oh, wait. I think it just hit me of one of the problems. Yeah. Yeah. I think I know what it just hit me about what one of the problems is. How I use a global variable and the fact that I didn't. Interesting. Okay. I know where one of these things went awry. Of the confusion in here and why it went. Okay. It's all starting to make a little bit more sense to your boy. What doesn't make sense is the computation of this profit target. I'm going to have to backtrack the logs on that one and see how the fuck it came up with this number. I would have understood it if it was tied with the intraday high of 22,110. But for whatever reason, it decided to overshoot the intraday high by 2.5 points, which is interesting. Interesting math none the least. Kind of grinding up. IWM is liking it. SPY's down 0.34. The Qs are down 0.38. We're kind of hanging out at this intraday high of 6,016-ish. Like I said, this is like a nothing level to me. I care more about this range between 20 and 25. If the bulls can overtake that, then I'm looking at 33. If you're bearish, maybe you wait for the trend line breakdown and then you could quickly target 6,009, I guess, is not the craziest thing. Someone went crazy on the Mag 7. What was it? Even the SPY got a little bit of a pop there, but look at this. Yeah, the Mag 7, what was it? Someone bought a lot of calls. What did they buy calls on? A little bit of Tesla, a lot of bit of NVIDIA, little tiny bit on Palantir, quite a bit on Microsoft. Even Apple caught a bid there. Netflix, small bid. MicroStrategy, nothing. Meta, really small. Avago, a little bit more. So it seems like pretty much everything in the Mag 7 right at 956. Right here, you have some put selling and some call buying. The latter adding positive delta, the former removing negative delta. So both of those have the net effect of pushing delta higher. And you can see what that forces the market makers to do. It forces them to get out of shorts for their hedge.
Canceled.
What the fuck? Oh, it hit. No, dude. Skynet. Was it a rough start for Skynet? Yeah. Was it similarly a vibe of letting a drunken kangaroo drive you home? Well, maybe the kangaroo's sober, but you're drunk, and maybe it's your DD. And did we go off the road a couple times here and there? We did. We did. But did we get to where we needed to go? We did. Sometimes, hey, when it works, don't ask questions. When it works, folks. When it works, and it actually made more money than I thought it would. $300 on 30 different accounts. That's $9K. This one's completely sim. I was using this as the lead account. Huh. Interessante, Batman. Yeah, we're going to have to do a deep dive. So I'm happy with the results of today, but does any of it make sense to me? Absolutely not. But I am happy to see the green. Hey, this one cracked 52. All these other ones are at 51.1. And these accounts are brand new starting today, up 300. Wow. Interessante. Definitely getting a little bit saved by this pump. Definitely getting a lot of bit saved by that pump. Bullish. Did I disable Skynet? Is Skynet turned off? Now it is. What time is it? It's 10:02. I could let it take one more trade. The edge seems to deteriorate midday. So if I do want it to trade, I kind of want it to trade before like 11:30 or like after 1:30. But based on some back testing, not so bueno. Not so bueno midday. Netflix and NVIDIA are trying to hold green. Meta's not far away. Palantir's not far away. Tesla has some distance to go. Definitely has some distance to go. AMD still showing some life here. Bitcoin at 105. Oh, the SPY got popping there for a second, but it just looks weird. I guess the linear regression, the overall slope is positive, but geez, I don't know. We're seeing a lot of fake outs early this morning. Home builder sentiment nears pandemic low as economic uncertainty plagues consumers. Well, in terms of key option levels and technical levels, we are in no man's land. We're not high enough to hit the next gamma level. We're not low enough to hit the support from yesterday's low. We are just awkwardly in between. SPY did have a nice pop up until 10:01, and then we're getting that first hour reversal. You don't say. AMD is getting a pop. AMD is getting a pop. This market is a guessing game now, folks. It's always been a guessing game. What do you think about DJT? What do you mean? What do I think about it? I think the phone thing is interesting. I don't know enough about the business of making phones to know if it's smart or not, but it seems like they're kind of getting into everything. Selling phones, crypto ETFs, crypto exchanges, social media platform. Well, we're getting hit again. What in tarnation? Even IWM, the one that was looking pretty good, taking a little bit of a breather here. Mag 7 options, even in this price dip, the options are actually holding pretty steady. It is more so the SPY that's trending down. You have, it looks like it's the combo. Calls kind of trending down, puts also kind of trending down. The calls are the orange and the green, and then the puts are the two blue, the dark blue and the light blue. So yeah, we had that big pop. This seems like just a whatever reversion. A whatever reversion. Oh brother, oh brother, oh brother, oh brother. Oh, brother. Is Skynet going to fire one more time? That's all bullish. That's all bullish. Are we missing any, like, major news right now? Is Fortnite actually overrated? Donald Trump, McDonald's, maybe a breakdown here. A little bit of a pop. Huh. Is it gonna follow through? SPY Mag 7. Maybe yes, maybe no. Who knows? All I can tell you is the 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, 4-hour momentum is all bullish. 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, 4-hour momentum is all bullish. The
Order submitted.
Jesus, Skynet. Oh.
Order canceled.
That one worked out well. See, that's what it was supposed to do. You know, folks? That's how Skynet was supposed to behave. It was supposed to be easy. In, out, you do it dirty. You take your $3K, $100 on 30 different accounts. You get in, you get out, and you move on with your life. I don't know why the other one, like, why wasn't it all that simple? That's how I saw it playing out in my mind. That is 100% how I saw it playing out in my mind. Just in, out, like, just no problems. Why? I think all of them should have been like that. The first one, crazy. Second one, which I don't even know how it went that way because it seems like it should have been short and yet it was long. And then the price target was really weird and it was a miraculous recovery when it was down $1,000 and then that somehow made it up 300 and like whatever. I'm more net up now than I would have been normally. But Jesus, the one that we just had, that's how they were supposed to behave. That is 100% how, like, just in, out, No questions asked. Take your money, move on with your life. Is today the day Skynet becomes aware? I don't know. I doubt it. It's the day that it gives me a freaking hernia. But we are trending up. So it caught this recovery real quick. Why didn't it ride it though? Similar to before when it put its profit target above the intraday high. I'm almost curious why it didn't do that again. That one, it took it quick. Is it because the range is collapsing? The ATR is getting a bit smaller? Perhaps, perchance? Up somewhere between 4 and some of these are up 500, some of these are up 400. So it probably averages, some are up 530. Probably averages out about 450 per account, and I'm trading on 30 accounts. The 20 Apex, they're all funded, and then half of my take profits, 5 of these are funded, which is why it says pro. These ones are not. I have 5 evals that I'm just trying to learn more about this system on. Damn, why didn't it? It would have been nice if it kept riding this one. It would have been really nice if it kept riding this one. Wait, didn't you code Skynet? Yeah, I did. Obviously not well. Bullish. Okay. Yep, we're coming up to this first target. I would love to see this just explode between the 20 and 25. It'll probably get a little caught up here, but really I want to see this test the I guess red to green test at 6,033. That would be my secondary target past this. So if you somehow caught a reversal in here, target 1, if it hits, set your stop to break even, maybe scale out, and then you could ride it for the next level. You never know what's going to come, so it all really comes down to your like risk management. Mag 7 is holding flat after this pretty clear pop here at 956. S&P 500 slowly but surely going to the upside. Slowly but surely. GM unveils quickest Corvette ever, the ZR1X hypercar, going from 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. Is there not a video of it? No, I guess they're going to be keeping their secrets from us. What are we talking about here? Stocks fall in Israel. Oh, we'll see what they're about.
Factor here that they want to lean into that a little bit more so that that inflation genie doesn't come out of the bottle.
Oil, WTI at 72, Brent's at 75. So we're looking at elevated prices from where they were, but I guess relative to history, maybe not so much given what's happening geopolitically. When does it become a story that matters for the economic outlook, the inflation outlook, and changes the narrative?
Well, the Fed generally looks at core inflation, right? So you take out the things that we actually spend money on, and inflation is running at 2.5, 2.6 on the core PCE. So if there was a perceived to be temporary spike in oil prices because of geopolitics, I think the Fed would look through that. Although oil prices do directly affect the TIPS market, so it could actually affect the intermediate side of the yield curve. But my sense is that the Fed looks beyond that. For me, the bigger issue is that, pre-COVID inflation was at 2. During COVID, it went, or after COVID, it went to 9. Now it's at 2.5. But it never really crossed below 2, and it needs to do that in order for the average, the 5-year average, to be back at 2. And the 5-year average is at 4 and rising. And so just because inflation's down to 2.5 doesn't mean that the battle has been won, and I think the Fed acknowledges that, and certainly rising oil prices wouldn't help. But I do think that unless it's a lasting impact, the Fed would look through that.
Finally, Urian, on the dots, our friend David Rosenberg this morning writes some advice for the Fed. Ditch the dots, essentially arguing that's what a lot of corporates did when it came to corporate guidance. Do you think they mean anything tomorrow?
They mean less than they used to.
The
Fed is data dependent. I mean, it always is, of course. But in a data dependent mode, the dots really are subject to change, just like the forward curve is, and the forward curve is always changing. The dots, remember, the dots were created after the financial crisis, and it was really a tool to create forward guidance at the zero lower bound. In other words, you tell everyone we're not going to raise rates for a long time. You know, at 4 3/8%, the dots kind of have lost their purpose in some ways. So I don't think they really matter a lot. And a real-time version of the dots is the forward curve, the SOFR curve, as we call it. But looking at where the dots are relative to where the forward curve are does tell us whether the market and the Fed are in agreement. And they actually are more or less in agreement right now, and they have been for the last year or so.
Right. That's a good curtain raiser as we await tomorrow's decision and remarks. Yuri, and talk again soon.
We're
Thanks.
up at my first profit target level.
I've been bashing the dots for a while.
I've been bashing the dots for a while. We're literally right. Is anyone surprised that we ran right up to it and tagged it? This is not rocket surgery, folks. If you have a decent understanding of the options market and the gamma and delta influence, you too can pick levels like this. It's not that special. First zone is 20 to 25. I hope that the bulls break through, and then I want to see the next test, not really at an options level, but it is a key, like just technical level that we know traders, including hedge funds, institutions, retail, and even market makers, high frequency traders, are going to react to the closing value at 6,033. So we're at profit target 1, profit target 2 is there, and then the third one would be the high from yesterday, kind of. But instead of 51, we could just call it 50. And remember that Captain Condor sold the 6,060s, which is on the outside of yesterday's high. So I would love a full trip recovery taking out this high. I would love it. But unfortunately, I do not have a magic wand that makes that type of stuff happen. But I can tell you, just from level to level, would I be chasing this now? No, I would have gotten in exactly where the bot got in because I fucking coded it, that you go long there, you're risking that, and then you get to play it up. Chasing at a new high, generally not the smartest move, especially now we're at a 2 standard deviation move. This is an abnormal move. So there's multiple reasons why I believe at this exact moment at 10:15 in the morning, I would not be chasing long right here. Just your risk is too far away. You're currently fighting the short-term odds. And when I say short-term, I mean like the 1 minute, the 5 minute bar. We just have too much of an extension too quickly. If anything, I would have patience for some form of like a pullback or something like that. Something along those lines. All right, AMD. Bullish. All right, here's a look at the flow. Mag 7 slowly but surely going up. The SPY did pop up until about 10:14, and now we have some profit takers. Guess what? We have profit takers right at this key level because other people are targeting it. Missiles launched towards Israel. Isn't that kind of just like the well-known going news? We do have some green things now. Netflix was green for a second, back to break even. Nvidia slightly green, Palantir slightly green, Avago green, CoreWeave green, DJT green, Qualcomm green. All right, we're starting to get to that point in the day where everything kind of started off red, but now oil is going back up. It's almost at 72. We're kind of at that awkward point where we're seeing a mixture. It all started off as red, but on this intraday recovery, we are now seeing a wee bit of a bounce. AMD is looking good. AMD is up 3%. Small cap, not far away from going green. Netflix, Nvidia, Palantir, Avago. There's definitely some, it seems like similar to yesterday, the most bullish sector is apparently semis. So look at something like SMH, look at something like Soxel, but it seems to be doing well. Curious how NVIDIA looks. This is how NVIDIA looks. Ever since 950, popping. We could go through all of it. Here's a look at Tesla selling off flat, recent recovery. NVIDIA popping ever since 948. Palantir sold off and then trying to recover ever since 945. Microsoft, kind of choppy, but big pop at 956. Apple, same thing. It seems like a lot of things bottomed at 950. Netflix kind of sideways, maybe picking up a little bit lately, but overall sideways. MicroStrategy just looking like a bull, selling, bottoming, buying. And then looking at Meta, we sold, we popped, selling again. Meta not looking how I would like it to. Broadcom catching a bid ever since 945, giving a little bit back recently, but same thing. Somewhere between 945 and 950, people started hitting the buy button for whatever reason. How the shit is anything green today after yesterday? Well, if you think that way, you're going to perpetually be losing money in the market. Like, trying to explain why something is going up or going down, like, yeah, it might be interesting for like a dinner conversation. But for active traders, the only thing that matters is the metrics related to the market, as in price flow, price momentum, options. Trying to explain why every move, like I find that this happens a lot in retail. Like, retail is obsessed with this concept of trying to explain the puzzle that is the market, as if everything has like rhyme and reason to why people are buying and selling. But in reality, you have no clue why people are choosing to buy or sell. Why are we going up? Because people are buying at a higher price than they were in the previous bar. Why do you go down? Well, people are buying and selling at a lower price than they previously were. That's all that matters. Like, this concept, it's almost like a dog continually chasing its tail of like, well, no, I need to explain. Like, everyone's trying to explain every single little movement, and it's literally just a waste. You're wasting your time. If you're right or wrong, you'll never know. It's not like there's some sort of answer key to the market that tells you, oh, yeah, people bought because of this, people sold because of it, like whatever. Like, you might be able to infer with higher or less accuracy, but you explaining why things move does not make you money. Being on the right side of the move is what makes you money, and that comes back to what is price structure: higher highs, higher lows, fake out breakouts, fake out breakdowns, options flow, key levels, gamma levels, delta levels. That's what matters. You just saying, hey, we're going up now because I think that the market overreacted to Trump's commentary on Israel and Iran. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe it just doesn't matter. It truly does not matter. So, Mark, it's just the wrong question. It's just inherently the wrong question. It just posted in chat here, but also pinned to the top of chat. Don't forget to sign up for Apex. Use that code Goonie, Goonie. Code Goonie will get you 80% off. It's lasting for another week. You could also use that code on Take Profit Trader if that's the one you prefer, or really even Vanquish. So if you want to do sim to funded trading with options, go with Vanquish. Use that code Goonie. If you like Take Profit Trader better than Apex, I use them both. I like them both. And code Goonie will get you at the end of it, by the time you get to funded, it's about financially the same. But anyway, code Goonie will work on all three. And right now, Apex is the partner of today's show, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. And that's exactly my 20 accounts right here. They all start with Apex. Those are my 20 Apex accounts, making about 450 per account. So 450 times 2, that's about 9K on my Apex. And then on Take Profit, I have 5 and 5, so another 10 there, so another 4K. So making, I don't know, about 12-ish K, 14-ish K this morning across my 30 accounts. So what I did was I used a copy trader. So I traded on one lead account, and then the trade got copied to the other 29 accounts, basically, is how it all works. So on top of that, I was using what I thought would work, and I kind of get some of it. I got the last trade. I didn't get the first trade. Well, I got the first trade. It was off by a minute. The second trade confused the shit out of me. The transfer from the second to the third trade doesn't make sense, but then the third trade fully made sense. So I need to look into that a little bit more. And that's a project for me to figure out midday today for sure. Definitely a project for me to be able to figure out midday today. What do we have going on? You need to be a wizard. Nah. None of that matters. You just need to know when it's bang bang time. Well, that's a pretty fair argument. Knowing when it's bang bang time, probably net beneficial. Avago getting hit a little bit right now. Mag 7 curling slightly down, but overall it's holding this pump that we saw since 950. This SPY Delta flow peaking at 1015, seemingly taking a breather since then, kind of reminiscent of yesterday. And now I'm just curious of, are we going to be in that same situation where we pop midday and then slowly but surely bleed off all day? Netflix is holding green. Meta could not hold 700. Tesla nowhere close to being able to hold 330 today. Palantir's going flat. Nvidia's even giving a little bit back. I don't know. AMD is the belle of the ball, folks. Palantir trying to be green, but I mean, AMD up 8.8, 8.9% yesterday, up an additional 3% today. AMD, the market really liking the upgrade from Piper Sandler and the excitement around their new chips and really handling their debt situation related to their trade with China. So the market very, very much paying off the AMD leadership team for making some seemingly shrewd decisions lately. Have you had Bang Bang shrimp? It's delicious. Hey, you're not wrong. All right, right now the market is just battling it out at this key level. If it starts to show a little bit of an appetite here, 21-ish, it's not the craziest time to go long because you have well-defined risk here at this low at 1019. So I don't hate it. It's just a little bit of consolidation, and obviously you're hoping that you don't get caught up in a fake out breakout. But if it starts to push here, even if you want to do a little scalp trade to the intraday high, or if you're confident that we keep going, yeah, well-defined risk. Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. If you're right, you get to ride it. If you're right, you get to ride it. Oh, if you... Big capital if, though. Oh, where are we? Qs are a little bit weaker. Mag 7's flat. SPY kind of flat. Kind of getting hit in a very small zoomed in time frame right here. Some puts are being purchased. Calls. Basically just all this call buying turned off. We had a clear amount of call buying from 9:50 up until 10:15. So about 25 minutes of call buying, adding quite a bit of positive delta. And then as soon as we started to hit that first delta gamma transition zone, people started to take their profits. That was between 10:13 and 10:15. And since then, we just haven't seen a follow through in that level of aggression. So we're just waiting to see if the bulls are still as aggressive. Yeah, definitely a little bit toppy here, running right into it. How did we know this was a level? I mean, that's actually one of my better call outs that we've had recently. The fact that, I mean, this was on your chart before the market even opened. The fact that we ran right up to it. He's a wizard, Harry. But on more of a teaching perspective, how did I know this was an important level? It just comes back to extensively reviewing the gamma and delta charts and just knowing where the massive gamma and delta nodes are, because that does have a mathematical impact on how the market makers need to hedge or unhedge their position. And on top of it, if you know where the open interest is, you get a better idea of where people go from out of the money to in the money. So they might choose, because that's just more of a psychology thing, they might choose to start to lock in some of their profits there. It's just as that delta reaches 50-50, they're like, cool, in the money, time to take it, and they move on with their life. So there was a couple things that informed me about that level, but nonetheless, that's effectively what I took into consideration to be able to call that level out to all of you. And I'm a bit bummed because I thought we were going to go up. I thought we were going to dip. I thought we were going to make a higher low, and I thought we were going to follow through. And this shows you once again, time and time again, why you shouldn't be predicting. You should be reacting. If I were sitting here predicting, I would say, cool, we have a higher low at 1019. We'll retest. We won't double top, and we'll follow through to 6,033. In real time, that did not happen. We went up. We got smacked. We made a higher low. And as we were trending up, it turns out that this wasn't a higher low, and now we have a lower low and a lower high. So all of a sudden, this trend of higher highs and higher lows has now become lower highs and lower lows. So that's a bit of a bummer. Maybe it's able to catch itself here. I would love for it to be able to catch itself here. I still want to see a retest of this, and you still have that opportunity to whatever this recent swing low is. You could use that as your risk point, and then just pay attention to your risk to reward. Even if you're right 50-50, but your reward, your payoffs are way greater than your risk, you're going to be massively net ahead. You don't want to overbet on any individual play, because this is a game where you're going to be right about half the time, wrong about half the time, plus or minus 10%. You're going to be between 60 and 40%. That is literally the Wall Street professionals of our world who make billions of dollars. They're right about 50% of the time. So if all of a sudden you're like, well, how could I possibly make money? Well, that's literally how all of Wall Street is making money, and they're only right half of the freaking time. Half of the time. Ooh, SPY is starting to swing back up. So the way you do it, the secret is basically just risk reward management. Keep your risk really small, keep your reward relatively high, and then even in a 50-50 game, you're going to be massively net ahead. But more important than your strategy, and your strategy is massively important, not to belittle that, but more important than your actual trading strategy of like when you get in, why you get in, when you get out, why you get out, is actually your bet sizing. You have to keep your bet sizing in control, because even the best strategies in the world, they're going to take losing trades. You're still going to take losing trades, even with the best trading strategies. For whatever reason, retail traders are obsessed with this concept of like a holy grail trading system that is like always right. And folks, it does not exist. If it did exist, someone very, very rapidly would become a multi-trillionaire, a legit multi-trillionaire. And it would happen rapidly, and they would not be giving it out to you. And also, not to be mean to anyone, but the chance of like someone in the retail audience finding the ultimate holy grail trading system, it's just not likely. So don't chase it. I know it sounds endearing that there's someone out there who figured out the puzzle of the market, but it's just not how it works. It's just truly not how it works. Hey, if you haven't already, I would appreciate it if you guys could help me out by smashing that like button. It is 100% free to you, and it very much helps me out with the algorithms. Like basically, the more engagement we get as you guys like and subscribe and turn on your notifications and comment and chat, all that stuff on Rumble and on YouTube, basically tells the algorithms running my life to promote this show to more people. So I would very much appreciate that. Jim Simons ran Renaissance Technologies, and more specifically the Medallion Fund, which in the 3 to 4 decades he ran it, made $100 billion, billion with a B, in profit, and he was only right 50.75% of the time. 50.75, not even 51% of the time. And that guy made $100 billion in profit. $100 billion in profit. Isn't that just absolutely fucking insane? Are we trying to put in a little bit of a bottom here?
Order submitted.
Oh, brother. Skynet is doing Skynet things. Skynet went long once again at 22,110, targeting this high at 1024, seemingly off by a tick. So this time it's targeting the high of the last swing high. Okay, that makes sense. So it's targeting the last swing high off of making a higher swing low. Interesting. Okay, this one makes more sense to me. Makes more sense. Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it right? Is it wrong? Targeting the last swing high after making, so it took that out. So that's a higher swing low. So it's basically saying we see a higher low. Here's a low, a swing low at 1027. And then on that wick, as we were pushing in real time, this was a higher low at 1031. So it was playing the creation of a higher low, targeting the last swing high. I like it. I like it. I dig it. Oh, speaking of swinging higher, speaking of swingers, AMD is crushing. AMD is a Karusian. A Karusian. Not the biggest fan of the current options flow. I've seen better. I've also seen worse. All right, what is this? Something about the EU commissioner? Something. European Commission proposes the relaxation of EU sanction laws for banks to revive the market, free bank capital, and boost lending to the economy. Japan prepares What the hell is this? Japan prepares Iran evacuation as war enters day 5. Tokyo has seen enough. Japan's embassy in Tehran says it may begin evacuating nationals as early as tomorrow due to worsening conditions. Jesus. Due to worsening conditions. Well, that is not exactly what you would want to hear. So even this made it a higher low. Yeah, it got confirmed. You could kind of see this stuff. One indicator that makes it easy is fractals. It just marks out the local highs and the local lows. So you could see generically from 9:45 up until about 10:15, we had higher highs and higher lows, just generically tracking those. And then right here, we were putting in a higher low for a second, and it got smacked. We had a little bit of a fake out here at 10:31. And now actually what was attempting to set us up for a higher low at 10:29, that's actually now become a lower high. Interesting. Mag 7 pretty flat. SPY was looking good for a second, going flat, and then at 10:33 just took a hit. Just took a hit. Just took a hit. Five-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, 4-hour bullish. 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-hour, 4-hour bullish. And really, the market's been... We had that nice pump up until about 10:15. This is where profit takers started to step in. We hit that level, and then lit. Now we're actually going even further down. Shit. Skynet getting faked out. Something just sped up there. Some... Oh, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Out of nowhere, the SPY Delta is getting crushed right now. Look at that. That just dumped. Someone sold a grip of calls and also bought puts right there at 10:34. Wow. Yeah, that'll do it. When you sell a shitload of calls, look, even the put delta just hit the most extreme negative of the day. And it's still going. What the fuck happened? Is there news? Mexico's Interior Minister Rodriguez, Mexico's President Sheinbaum Trump meeting can happen another time. Huh. Okay. I don't know why that would be what impacts the market. Maybe it was just some fat finger mistake. Someone crushed it, though. Someone slapped it. And they slapped it hard, too. Aggressive. Aggressive of them. Still, yeah, just smacked off of that level. We've now retraced about, what, half? Yeah, that smack was a perfect 50% retracement. Perfect 50% retracement from the intraday low to the high. I know that's somewhat of a popularized trading strategy. To be honest, I haven't done much of the research on that, of if it's good or not, but I know some people, whatever, they have a bias on the day based on the size of the movement, and then they just have sitting orders at 50% retracements, and then they, from there, like in this case, we popped up, so they would wait for a 50% pullback, and then they, from there, wherever they got into the extreme of the day, in this case, the high of the day, they would look for 50% of that. So basically 25% of the initial range, but 50% of the distance between their entry and the extreme of the day. So that would it to explain this trade. And once again, I didn't take this trade, but right. Okay. So basically, the low of the day was whatever this is, 22,026. The high of the pit session was 22,133. The 50% pullback was 22,080. They would go long there because the initial range was made that way. They would go long on the 50% pullback, and then they would target 50% of this move, which would put their target at 22,106. So basically, long at 22,080, targeting 22,105, 106. So 50% of the 50% with trend. I've done a little bit of research on it, and I think you can definitely use it to make money without a doubt. I'm not by any means an expert on it. If you were trading it with SPX, it would look something like nope, I wanted to draw it this way. So the 50% pullback was right here at 6,014.5, and then your target would be why is this not working? Your target would be, so you're in at 14.5 and your target is like 18.5, 19, something like that. So 50% of 50%. I think it's interesting because it means you're buying on a discount. You're waiting for something to pump. You're waiting for a pullback. So I like it because it gets you in the mental framework of not chasing. So because of that alone, I'm a fan of it. You'd want to probably do a little bit of back testing of time of the day. You'd probably want to do some back testing for day of the week to know like better days and worse days, like that type of stuff. So I don't know if I would necessarily trade it out of the box in any like generic situation. But I think there's something there. I think you might just want to add some stuff on top of it. I'm curious if it'll hit today. Curious if it would hit. We have been trending down ever since we hit that level, that perfect level at 1014, which was also... So technically today on SPX, the Orbo breakouts for the 15-minute and the 30-minute were to the upside. Both the 15-minute and the 30-minute broke bullishly. Yeah, because that was a misprint. The Qs broke down, though, on the 15-minute. So the 30-minute on SPY and QQQ both broke bullishly to the upside, once again, on SPY, QQQ for the 30-minute. But for the 15-minute Orbo, the SPY was also bullish, while the NASDAQ right here was actually bearish. And we have not had the hour. We have not had the initial balance break quite yet. We are waiting for that to occur. Yeah, let me make this blue. So whatever, Orbo, opening range, breakout, breakdown. People traded on the 30 second, the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 10 minute, the 15 minute, the 30 minute, the 1 hour. From my personal research on it, I could tell you the ones that have the most interesting statistics surrounding them are the 30 minute and the 1 hour. I think anything below the 30 minute, you're pretty much playing still a 50-50 game. I know for sure, I mean, I see it on social media, I see it in here, that there are some people attempting to trade the 15-minute Orbo, and the stats of trading the 15-minute Orbo very much suggest you are right half the time and wrong half the time. And that inherently doesn't make it good or bad. It just means that you need to have more reward than you do risk to be net profitable, obviously. This is very much shaping up to look exactly like yesterday, where we popped, we pulled back, and then we bled off pretty much all day. Am I losing my mind? This is literally what happened yesterday. We opened up, We ripped yesterday till 10:35, and then all day we just drifted down and down and down. Now, is that what's going to happen today? I don't know. It's a different day of the week. We have different... Ooh, they dropped this. Interesting. The hedge here changed. We have a different gamma influence. We have a different set of news. I'm just calling out that thus far there's a lot of similarities. What is with all these bots? Why do we have all these bots pushing like dumb shit? I swear, these people who are so stupid to fall for these like meme scams, like I just, how? Look at all these bots. All right, they're all banned now. We got them. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that, but the bots are dead now. Banned them. Oh, the 50% pullback level. Interesting. I'm gonna be just, I guess, taking a mental note of it today if it works out. Not that one data point is like the end all be all, but it is interesting. It is interesting. The old half of a half. Oh. Yeah, we're just look at all this positive gamma. So if you're on spot gamma and you're looking at the trace tool, the red nodes are negative gamma, the purple/blue is positive gamma. And remember, positive gamma is just like more of a mean reverting environment, while the red negative gamma is much more of trend following. And the gamma that we have here is twofold. A lot of the positive gamma is in fact coming from the Captain Condor play today. But the other part is just recently there's been a ton of put selling. So even without Captain Condor, we would have had a decent amount of positive gamma. It probably just would have been lower. We probably wouldn't have seen it at such elevated levels. And now we're coming back to VWAP. Huh. Bullish. Above. Mag 7 is flat. S&P 500 still, in fact, we're almost at a delta low. This is very similar to yesterday. I hope it doesn't play out. Potential trend line breakout here on the Qs if you're a technical trader. Lower highs, and now potentially, if you were to take this, obviously your risk would either be the breakout bar or the recent swing low at 1042. If you were to play that, you wouldn't just do, I mean, it's kind of a double bottom, even here, a double bottom. Let's see how it goes. Speaking of going, how is my trade going? Currently red, unfortunately, on this trade. But things, according to this, switching back bullish just above 22,110. I don't know, this is 111, this is 114, somewhere in here. So basically, well, that doesn't actually make sense. Why did it not cut this trade on this breakdown? I thought it would have, on this breakdown, it should have cut that as a loss. Huh. Well, I can tell you this. In the event that I am fortunate enough for this trade to hit, I'll be shutting it down and I'll be taking my money on the day. And it's going to be about $500 to $600 per account if this trade were to hit. So I am happy with that, especially because I don't want to let things necessarily run rampant, because it's not really working to my full expectation. So if this hits, I'm going to be stoked. And like I said, I'm going to be shutting it all down on the day. And then I'll probably let the sim account just run. This one right here on the bottom of your screen. I'll probably let this one run so I can collect more data and figure out what the fuck's going on. But ideally, I'll be disciplined enough to just be happy with this 500 per account on day one, especially because at one point they were all down 1,000 and things went crazy. And I don't know, it just feels when I have some green to lock it in and not get too crazy with it, you know? Speaking of that, what is the high value that this is basing it all off of? 51,700. Okay, so I'm eating back into my buffer, which is good because yesterday you have 2.5K of buffer, but it's based on your unrealized high. And yesterday, I think I gave up 800 of it. So clearly, if this hits today, I'll get 500 of that back. So slowly but surely digging myself out of this hole, I say, even though this trade has not hit quite yet. Well, the Qs are attempting to hold this trend line breakout. The SPY is coming up close to it. The SPY still lower highs and lower lows. I would very much like to see it break that trend right there. Well, technically, it did just take it out by a couple cents. Technically, the high was 6,017.12, and we just hit 6,017.18. So hopefully it's just not a brutal double top type of a situation. Hopefully, but I guess we'll find out. Really, so ever since 1014, 1015, lower highs, lower lows. If you are bearish, you want to see that trend continue. You might have been sweating a little bit here, but then obviously if you're bullish, you want it to see it switch. You want to go from these lower highs and lower lows to higher highs and higher lows. And what's going to be telling is the next high and the next low. So technically we did break this high, but that's not really solidified quite yet. What you want to see is a higher low. So maybe this wick right here at 1049, maybe it's going to be inverse shoulder, head, shoulder type of a thing, and we break this net line. But you're going to need at least 2 more bars that are pushing above. So you really want to see this going because now we have tied highs. So the question is, will this be the next low? Which you don't know that until 2 bars afterwards. But we did do the 50% pullback. And we are getting something from Germany right here. What is this? If Iran does not back down, the complete destruction of the Iranian nuclear program is on the agenda, which Israel cannot achieve alone. Okay. Whatever you say there, Tonto. Whatever you say. But if we can push this 6,017 level, we would have a higher low. So a potential trend switch. So you can see the generic trend was up. Then it was clearly down. And the question is this breakout bar that we're watching in real time going to be the start of a new trend? As in we go from higher highs and higher lows to lower highs and lower lows to now a new, fresh, higher high and higher low situation. So depending on where this bar closes, we might officially get this one marked as the higher low. So we just need to wait. We need to wait at least 45 seconds if you're on the minute chart. And it also happens to be playing out right at the SPY's trend line. So a couple things kind of all playing out right here in real time is this downsloping trend line on the SPY. We ran right up to it, seemingly having an issue. The Qs already broke out of theirs, but it might be a fake out breakout. And really, we're just, it's getting smacked pretty quickly, folks. Hopefully can hold this. We had that pop and very quickly gave it back. The Mag 7 has had a huge pop at 955, 56, going flat ever since then, while the SPY was very bullish up until 1015, and then all of a sudden got rocked and just has not been able to recover since then. Germany's Chancellor Merz at G7 Trump has assured me he will attend the upcoming NATO summit. 1 minute ago, air raid siren sound in Tel Aviv. Where's oil at? Oil's trading at 72.5, so really not moving that much. Not moving that much. Well, I almost was able to get out of my position on that trade, but the double top aspect of it kind of fucked me over a little bit. Palantir maybe waking up. AMD giving something back. What else is moving? Bitcoin at 105. Meta recovering above 700. Netflix going red on the day, just below 1,225. Nvidia flat. Palantir flat. Broadcom had a nice pop, giving it back. Tesla struggling ever since losing that fight at 330 yesterday. Microsoft trying to grind back up. Coin is actually having a nice fight. CoreWeave green on the day, but giving some of it back. DJT is actually looking pretty nice. Qualcomm slowly but surely grinding up. How's that small cap sector doing? It was grinding up. It's fighting back right now, kind of like the SPY and the Qs. Got a pop for about 5 minutes, but now it's being questioned. I think that one trade would have hit on NQ. This trade that we talked about. Yeah, going long at 80. Yeah, it would have hit if you took that. So long on the 50% pullback, you would have gotten a fill here at 1037. And then your target, you would have gotten a fill 10 minutes later at 1047. So you would have been long at 22,080 and your target would have been 107. So it was a 10-minute trade. Not a bad deal. 27 points, about just over $500. That was a good trade. I don't know if it technically hit on SPX. Let me check that for you. SPX. All right, so you would have been long at 14.5. And your target would have been 19. That one would have not have filled yet. Targeting 19. Would have gotten close, 18. You were a point away, but technically would not have gotten a fill. And actually, as of right now, you are just barely green. So it would have worked on the tech sector today. At this point, you would have already been locked in and ready to go. And if you did it on the S&P 500, you would still be praying at this point. And you'd be probably a little bit... we're not vomiting here anymore. It was looking bad, but literally, I feel like every single time I turn it back to this, it's almost like prompting the sell-off. And we're just getting hit right there. This is exact. Like yesterday, it took 20 minutes longer, but we pumped and then all day just smashed. Fake out trend line, maybe finding support at this trend line breakout. The Qs try to get going, smacked. The SPY got smacked right at the trend line. What they're talking about Oklo over here. If you haven't already, don't forget, 7 days left. Apex, use that code GOONIE, GOONIE, to get 80% off. You could also use that code on Vanquish. You could also use it on Take Profit Trader. It's all in the description of the video. But right now, Apex, you could take that test for about $33, $34. So very affordable if you use that code GOONIE, GOONIE, to get that 80% off. And we are in fucking no man's land right now. Well, like yesterday, a choppy sideways nothing day. I think there's too much positive gamma in the system. We're just not really trending in either direction. I was hopeful for a second that with enough umph and follow through, really where I was most hopeful was right here at 1020. I was like, okay, cool. Pump up to the key level, pull back, higher low, base, and then I was looking for that follow through up until the red-green test. Unfortunately, you could see our attempt to make a base at 1020 and 1030. Well, it failed on whatever people decided to trade here at 1035, and it just really messed it all up. Messed up the entire party for everyone. So that, I don't know, at this point, we are closer. We do have the support of yesterday's low at 6,010, obviously. Now we have this renewed, I guess, resistance really at the intraday high and this key open interest level. It's just there's too many profit takers. Simultaneously around 10:15-ish, you had the 1-2 hit of people locking in their call profits and puts being purchased. So you lost positive delta and added negative delta. So basically at 2x the rate, you dropped delta. And that means that market makers don't have to be as long. And in fact, it means that they have to add some shorts to hedge out their books. And this is exactly what you get from there. So it's just this junk right in here. We didn't get the foundation we needed. And the breakdown, the 1035 breakdown was not good. It tried to have like that rubber band effect, bounce back up at 1050. But even that, we literally got to the bottom of this breakdown level at 1018, just smacked again. It's just, and not only can you see that all in price, but you can literally see it in options. Like I'm showing you in real time. Calls, purchase, purchase, purchase. Guess where they peaked out? Sold, flat. Someone sold a huge chunk of them, flat again. And then literally right now, as we're talking in real time, 1056, people are selling calls again. And that whole time, actually, you're getting less interesting call movement. What you're really seeing is puts being purchased like no other. Starting at 1013, just a huge amount of puts being purchased. Look at it. It has not stopped. They just keep buying, buying, and buying. And it's a lot of 0 DTE puts as well. An aggressive amount of 0 DT puts. But the put delta has hit the lowest of the day, as in the most aggressive put situation that we've seen. Jesus. That is... At least the calls went flat for a second there. That's not so good. We're targeting VWAP right now. So we're kind of at VWAP. We're also just above the low value from yesterday. Maybe this is where people start to take their profits on those puts. I don't know. You'd have to ask those guys. There's just no bullish follow through. And unfortunately, especially here at 1034 and here at 1056, we are seeing some aggressive put buying as well. Small cap sector is going flat. At least that one's not getting murdered. At least that one's not getting murked. Yeah. The Qs are pushing on this low from 1003, and the SPY is doing the same thing. So maybe people choose to buy here, whether they're getting out of shorts or going into longs. It could be a double bottom situation, but I wouldn't feel that confident about it until we take out this recent high at 1048, because really since 1015, the trend's clearly been down. Trend has clearly been down. All right, folks. First of all, shout out to Apex. Don't forget to use that code Goonie if you choose to get one of those accounts. Oops, hang on. I didn't mean to do that. Whoa, my hair's crazy. You guys didn't even tell me. Today, it's another choppy, shitty day. Do not do anything too crazy. Just the environment isn't there. We don't have these nice trends. It's too much positive gamma. Today is not the day, and arguably neither is tomorrow, because tomorrow is an FOMC day. So don't get so crazy. And really, we're at the point where sometimes you have really good days in the market, and other days there's just not that much opportunity. You can't treat every single day as if you're supposed to make the exact same amount of money, because just texturally, there are different days in the market, and the setup today is not one that is really that exciting. It's a premium burn selling options type of a day, and other than that, maybe you get lucky with a little scalps here or there, but it's just we do not have what we need in the structural setup of the day to have one of those exciting days. So very similar to yesterday. I do want to call out tomorrow's going to be FOMC, so we'll be there, we'll be streaming it, we'll be doing all of that stuff, but I personally try to not trade on FOMC days. I look at my history of trading on FOMC days, and it's not a good one. So hopefully I can be disciplined to maybe let Skynet do a little bit of Skynet stuff. And then after that, hopefully I'm just shutting it down and watching all the craziness with you guys. So obviously for the remainder of the day, respect your risk. Don't do anything too crazy. I will be posting an update video later on today to recap everything that happens, and then also to prep everyone up for tomorrow. And then obviously we'll be streaming once again tomorrow. I appreciate all the good vibes. If you haven't already, on your way out, it would really help me out a lot if you guys could hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications. And with all that being said, I will catch you guys later. Best of luck. Peace.